To know that we're not alone, to know that there's always a place we can go to, which is a state. To know that there's something great and something big and something awesome and something powerful and something kind and something compassionate and something generous that awaits our availability to its goodness, its kindness, its love, its mercy, its compassion, and all of its gifts. That's a good thing to know. But you and I are not going to know that until you and I can become, I know. We're back to it again. Be still and know. It's an interesting thing that no matter what's going on in our lives and living, or whatever phases we're going through, if you and I want to spiritually unfold, we are always going to come back to be still and know. No matter what, we're always going to find ourselves back there whether we like it or not. Oh, don't do the be still and know again thing. I'm not good at that. It's not my thing. Do you have to talk about that so often? Yes. And I know how it is because it's the same for me as it is for you. In a frenetic world, in a busy world, in a world full of all kinds of distractions, good, bad, and indifferent, and activities, and duties, and tasks, and so on and so on and so on. Yes, I do know. I know as much as you know how hard it is to be still and know. But there's no getting away from it, and there's no other way to get in touch with that amazing, beautiful, powerful presence, life itself, love itself, light itself, that is available to us all of the time until we learn to be still and know. Now, how can we know that in a frenetic world, in a busy world, in a world that gets us caught up in the busyness of the embodiment, as one of my teachers used to say? Oh, you are too caught up in the busyness of the embodiment. And I hear those words a lot in my life as it gets busier and busier and busier. And have you noticed it doesn't get any less filled with activity? It gets more so if that's the way we allow it, or that's what we show up for. But there is a way in all of that to be still and to know. And so here we are. We're coming out of this cycle in the year that is the cycle of harvest and gratitude and thanksgiving. And that opens up a new cycle for us, which is a cycle of contemplation, quietude, silence, pondering the deeper things of life in the winter cycle of the year. And it's called, for many, Advent. Advent means the coming, the visitation, the onset. It is a sense of something about to happen. And it is a time that is given to us to draw aside and ponder where I am just now, what's going on just now, what is my life filled with just now? Is it good? Does it feel good? What's happening? What's the buzz? What's up, doc, kind of thing. That's what this cycle is now that we're moving into. Next Sunday will be the first Sunday of Advent. There are 4 Sundays in Advent in the Christian calendar. There are 4 Sundays. And we are called all the time to wake up. The message of Advent is wake up, wake up, wake up from your sleep, wake up from your slumber. Ponder what's going on in your life. And if there are wrongs, correct them. Correct them. That's what this time is all about. Make amends, correct them, and pony up to your best self and stop the nonsense. And this could be a most nonsensical time as we get caught up in the, the exterior of it all, in the materialism of it all. We could truly get caught up in that. And this whole thing about gift giving, oh my goodness me. I mean, when it comes to gift giving, I see more anxiety in people's faces than anything else. Oh my God, I have to get her a gift and him a gift, and oh, I didn't get so-and-so a gift, and oh, I don't know what to get them anyway. What do you get people these days? I don't know what kind of gift giving that is. You know, and I love all of that myself. I love the getting the things, the wrapping and so on and so forth. It's just that I don't have the kind of leisurely time that I could savor the flavor of it all anymore, it seems to me. So I'm going slap, you know, next thing, slap on the sticky tape and all of that and so on and so forth. Oh, did I forget anything? Did I forget anyone? And invariably I do. And then I pause and I think, oh my God, what's all the wrapping about? What is a meaningful gift to give to somebody? That's what we need to ponder. What is a meaningful gift? Especially to people who have so much, and let me tell you, that's all of us. Every single one of us in this room. Stuff and things, we have an awful lot of them. So what do we give instead? So these are the things that Advent kind of brings up and out of us. So for that to happen, I have to draw away from the frenzy, and I have to pause. I have to get quiet. I have to become still. I have to ponder. I have to contemplate. I have to review the situation to see how I can show up in an attitude of generosity and a giving spirit from a loving heart to give to somebody or something with whatever is going to make the difference and whatever is meaningful and touches the heart. It's all about touching the heart of people, each other. But we can't touch the heart out there until we first touch the heart in here. Be still and know. In stillness and quiet shall your strength and your peace be, we are told. In stillness and quiet shall your strength and your peace be. Now, when we get into that, the way we get into that is, first and foremostly, allowing ourselves the idea that I can do this. I can do this. I can do this. I can do this. Because Spirit will respond and help me to do this. I can do it. I can do this. Be still and know. And that requires you to be able to get relaxed. Have to become relaxed. You are not going into the presence of Spirit in an unrelaxed way, because Spirit knows nothing of what it is to be unrelaxed. And Spirit can only be in its own company and know its own self. So if I want to be in the presence of God, I must be the presence of God. I must become the presence of God in order to do that. So I'm invited to take off my shoes and enter into the closet, and in silence and secrecy be in the presence, and eat and sup with the presence in silence and in secrecy. What does that mean? It's a metaphor for being able to take myself into a relaxed, quiet, still, ambient state. And the taking off of my shoes is to put aside all the angst and all the worldly things that stop me and block me from being relaxed. That's what I have to do. And then when I do that, I become relaxed, and the quickest way to do it is to focus on the breathing. Oh yeah, there you go again, the breathing, the breath thing, you know. I'm hard to catch my breath some days, Dr. Moira. As my mother used to say, I'm almost too busy to bless myself. But she said almost, because she always had time to bless herself. She's a woman of prayer, believed in it. But I'm almost too busy to bless myself. And that's the sign to do it, to stop, to pause, and to bless. And so once you're there, all you have to do is, in the sweetness of patience, wait and listen. And that's the hardest thing of all, because waiting and listening is not what we like to do. We don't like waiting, and we don't like listening. And if you don't believe me, listen, observe people around you in conversation or whatever, or in line, lining up. Observe. And guess what? Maybe you'll find yourself in one of those situations whereby you're agitated and so on and so forth in line. And or you want to be speaking and not listening. Now, the man who can hold his tongue, or the one who can hold the tongue is the one who will enter the city, we are told in Scripture. The one who can hold the tongue is the one who will enter the city. That means the one who knows how to be silenced can enter into a higher state of consciousness. Don't you love it when you get the explanation to what these things mean? That's what that means. Now, why do you think so much time is spent on this? Because it's the ultimate. It's the seminal and important thing for you and for me to be able to do, to be still and to be quiet, so that we can know what? Know that I am is God, and that the I am is God within you, within me, and within everything. That's why we're asked to be still, and that's what we're asked to know, to be still and know. What is the one thing that stops us and the one thing that blocks us from being in the presence of God and delighting in the presence of God and being ecstatic in the presence of God and getting giddy with delight in the presence of God? You know what? Nobody says it better than this man, and I'm going to share what he has to say. This is H.R. Jeffrey. Here's what he says stops us and blocks us. We try to enter into the presence of the divine with our own false walls of unkindness having been constructed towards someone set solidly between us and the responsive presence of God's loving kindness. We would like God to have made some situation better for us, but it cannot be mended while we are holding wrong attitude of mind. We have made it impossible for our hearts to feel the divine kindness and goodness because we are full of unkindness towards some person or some situation. We have become critical, condemning, sarcastic, and cynical. We harbor suspicious and unmerciful states of mind. We entertain resentments and grudges and ill will toward our fellows. And then we wonder why we cannot become conscious of the divine presence. The presence is within us, but we are not conscious of it because we are occupied with all that is unlike God. The wall and partition is up. Those are harsh words. And yet that's the reality. Those are the reasons why you and I cannot enter in and be still and know God. And we can do the yoga, and we can do the meditating, and we can do the visioning, and we can do all the spiritual practices we want. But if there's any of that left in our lives, it's not going to do us much good. It will do us some good, but not much good. Because that's where it is. You and I not being able to let go of those bitchy thoughts, those resentful ideas, those opinions about him and her and them and they. That's what stops us. That's what blocks us. We're full of judgments. God help us all. We're full of judgments. And you see, you and I are not going to be able to enter into the shelter of the Most High and drink of the springs of living waters until all of that nonsense stops and goes away. And until that happens, you and I will burn in the furnace of the desert of stuff and things and the human experience and the material aspect of life, the outer aspect of life and living. So what happens to us, we scorch ourselves. And then we wonder why, don't we? And it's the same for us all. It's the same for your neighbor. It's the same for me as it is for you, the same challenges. No one gets away with it. We all have those challenges. We want to go to judgment. We want to go to our opinion. We want to go to what the ego is endeavoring to have us think and feel and decide. But if we keep going to the egoic mind, how can we enter in? How can we know the divine aspect of our being? How will we ever know that which is the best part of ourselves, the greatest part of ourselves, the more of ourselves, the eternal aspect and essence of ourselves, the divine aspect? If I keep all the time running around in the human experience and identifying with that alone, it's the very smallest part of us. It's the very smallest part. The human experience. bigness and the largeness and the moreness and the light and the radiance and the magnificence and the wonder and the goodness and the beauty and the grace is the truth of our being. And that's where we need to hang out. That's what we need to keep going to, returning to all of the time, no matter what. Because the scriptures again say, in all things give thanks. That's hard, that's hard, that's hard. Am I the only one that knows that's hard? I don't think so. It's easy to give thanks in the good times. Not so in the not so good times. And yet we're told, give thanks, give thanks, give thanks. Because if you do, this too will pass. And not only will it pass, but you will be the better for it coming into your life. There is a power, truly there is a power. There is a presence. There is an infinite beingness right where you are, where I am. Now, whether or not we can get our conscious arms around that will make all the difference. But whether you believe it or not, it's the truth. There is a power for good in the universe greater than you are, and you can use it. And guess what? It's right behind your eyes and under your nose, as well as all around and all about you. There's no need for anyone in this room to feel victimized ever, to feel like a have-not ever. And here's the thing, oh my goodness, here's the thing. There is no need to seek God. If we are seeking God, we're seeking from separation and an understanding of lack. God is already present and found. God is already right where I am. I don't need to be seeking what already is, what I already am in possession of. It makes no sense. When I first got that, I went, wow. And yet we call ourselves seekers. Oh, and we are. But of what? Seek, 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 seek. We seek here, we seek there, we seek everywhere. What is it we're seeking for? An illusion. An illusion. And at the end of the day, that's what we're left with, an illusion. We need to look to what we already have, stand tall, back the shoulders and say, I don't know how or why, but I am so empowered, it's actually unbelievable, because I know how I've been and what I've been up to and what I've done, and it ain't all good. And yet, that's the truth. Each one of us can stand and know that and allow ourselves to feel that and be that. It's our nature to do it. And that's why we are all in this room right now. Otherwise, we'd be elsewhere. Because we have inside of ourselves an inkling of that potency and that power and that radiance and that strength and that otherness. There are times when each one in this room have had his sense of otherness. Whether you remember it or not, I'm telling you, you've had it. You've had a sense of otherness. The otherness is the moreness. The moreness is the presence, the inklings, the pull to be more and realize more and make a better difference, a greater difference, no matter what we're up to. We are all in servancy here. I love the old-fashioned word for service, servancy. We are all in servancy, as we had that beautiful song at the 9 o'clock this morning that Margaret sang to us, reminding us of the power and the potency of servancy, of being in service. We have to get used to that understanding and see that as a beautiful thing to cradle to ourselves. Servancy. All it means is I'm here to make a difference. I'm here to be the beauty and the grace of life itself. I'm here to be the blessing. I'm here to be the light that shines in the darkness. I'm here to be the magnificence the Spirit is. Somehow or another chose me to radiate that through me. And that's what I'm here to be. And that is what is meant by being in servancy. Serving the divine purpose for which I'm here and from which I came. definition again of spirit, givingness of life back onto itself. It's your definition too, because you're the image and likeness of your Creator. And your Creator is the givingness of life back onto itself. Consequently, I must be the givingness of life back onto itself. But what have I got to give? Everything. Regardless of your state, your circumstance, your situation, your conditions. You have everything to give because you have been given everything, and so have I. We just need to wake up and remember who we are, what we are, and whose we are. This is the perfect season for it. This is the perfect season to get in touch with the power and the strength and the beauty and the grace of ourselves, so that we can think from it and feel from it and act from it, because we're being it. And that's all that's given to you and to me to do. The only thing that we have to do is to be. And there's a conundrum. And that could keep us busy for all eternity. And it is. So that you and I can be all that we can be. How do we start that? By being the best of ourselves. I think we can all get a grip on that. We all understand what it is to be the best of ourselves and to come from the best of ourselves. Remember, people don't want your fumes. They have their own fumes. They're driving on their own fumes. They're going on their own fumes. They want your fullness. They want you to come from your fullness, because that helps. Fumes and more fumes and more fumes, not good. Not good. So let us shake ourselves up and wake ourselves up, as the prophets all call us to do in the season of Advent, and understand that this is the time when the magic happens, when nature shows us it withdraws itself. It goes into hibernation, and it goes under. It goes into the secrecy and the darkness and the quiet of the resting time. And they're resting. All that beautiful potential is what is needed so that spring can burst forth into newness and multiplied newness when the ripeness of springtime comes. Nesting time, resting time, hibernation time is necessary for the soul as well as the body. And so that's what we're called to in this time. It's magical, it's mystical, it's fascinating, and it is. And you can feel it. Don't tell me you can't feel it in the air. There is something in the air at this time of year, and it's called a heightening of goodwill amongst us all. All of a sudden, we start to put on our generosity clothing, and we stop being so pinchy and so withholding and so mindless around the good that we can do and the good that we can cause by showing up as good. And it doesn't take money, and it doesn't take that kind of extravagance to make the difference in somebody's life. A phone call, a card, a visit could be far more uplifting and meaningful than any expensive gift that could be given. But remember this, each one of us came in here as a gift, all wrapped up in the beauty and grace of spirit. But a gift is worthless if it's not given away. If you don't give the gift, it is not a gift. And it's worthless, and your endeavor to wrap it, buy it, and do all of that is useless. We are the gift. We're meant to be given. So let's, this coming season of holy pondering, and Christmas and Hanukkah and Kwanzaa and all the other celebrations that go on at this time, let's make it make the difference, and let's be our true selves as we move ahead. And let's stop the nonsense that stops us from savoring the flavor of the holiness of life and living and the givingness of life back onto itself. Don't you think that's a grand idea? Yes. And so do I, and so it is.